So I just went to another AMC screen unseen, and this time it was Origin. That little movie that's coming out, we're going to talk about it. Okay, so Origin was the unscreening that AMC did today. It was kind of obvious with runtime and stuff. I like how they're doing this thing because it's getting people to go and see these smaller films that you probably wouldn't go and see most of the time. So it's like, it's getting us and enticing us to see movies that we wouldn't see normally. And that's what I love because some of these movies that are like the smaller ones, they are really, really good and they deserve a bit more attention. And I like the way that they do it with this. Now, Origin for me is a bit of a mixed bag. Now, let's get to some of the positives of this film that I really, really liked about it. The message of this movie is good. It is really, really good. And it opened my eyes to a certain thing that I didn't even know about. Like, I never really dived into it and actually thought about it that way. But this movie is based on a book that came out very recently, 2020, I believe it came out. And it talks about Caste. Now, you guys can go and do your own research on that, or you can watch the movie. This movie does a good job explaining what that is, what that terminology means, and it makes sense. Because when you're listening to it and watching it in the movie, it's showcasing you where our society is and how it got to the point where we are now using this sort of terminology and this idea of hierarchy. And it's a really, really good message. It really is, because it changes the thought process that goes through your head when it comes to certain things and how things are all linked together. Like how, slavery was linked to the Holocaust. How, the Holocaust is linked to the stuff that's happening in India right now. All these things are all linked because of this hierarchy system that was put in place. So I really like the message that they're telling in this film, getting the awareness out there about this, what actually is the actual, reasoning for this happening. And I really, really enjoyed that whole aspect. Now, I thought the performances were great as well. I really enjoyed them. They were all fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. The cinematography is great. It really is. And the way that they were able to capture certain scenes with the cinematography to, make you really get hit in the feels, I thought they did a great job. Like, especially the final part of this film. Bruh, the final part of the film actually hits you really emotionally, really hard. And it's just shot so beautifully and done so well that as you're doing it, it's going to leave a lasting impact on you, that final moments of this movie. And I really, really enjoyed the final act of this movie. To me, it's easily the strongest part of the film, and it brings it all together. We build up this whole momentum to come up to this final conclusion here, and the way that they created it and then put it all together worked really, really well for me. Now, some of the issues I did have with the film, though. There are some issues. Firstly, the pacing of this film is not good. It's awful, man. It really is. This movie feels so long. Especially the first two acts. They just seem like they're taking so long. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get this character, Isabel. And you're supposed to try and understand who she is. So they take their time trying to develop this character to showcase you this is a character you should care about. This is the events that happened in her life to bring her to the conclusion to make this book. To bring her to be able to write it. What powers her? What's her motive? Why is she doing this? So they spend so much time doing that. And I respect that. I do respect that because, characters, you need to get us attached to them. But it does take a very, very long time. And another thing that I just thought didn't work in this movie is some of the editing choices very early on in this film, especially the first act, where certain tragic things happen to Isabel, right? So when these tragic things happen, you're supposed to feel the impact of that emotionally. You're supposed to be like, oh, damn, I feel really sad what's about to happen. I feel it and everything like that. But what they don't do is allow that. They don't allow the breathing time to process what is actually occurred and why this is such a big impact on this person. Why did this happen? It's very choppy. And what I mean by that is it's scene here, ready, and the scene feels like it's not finished, and then they cut it off. Okay, we're into the next one. And it's like a little time jump at the same time. So 1 minute you're here, you're like, okay, I'm invested in this moment. Bam, chop. Now, okay, where are we now? What's happened here? Why is what we've jumped time here now? Like, what's going on here? So there is moments like that. So at times it feels very, very quick and rushed at the start, especially in the first act. It feels very rushed. Like, okay, we need to get to this point as quick as possible with this much information. It feels like they have so much information they need to convey in the first act that they just like chop, 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 bam, 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 put it all together. So you feel like, okay, well, I'm just jumping from place to place to place. So I'm not feeling anything as we're progressing because I'm supposed to feel for this tragic event. No, okay, we're on to the next bit. I guess we're just leaving that there. I can't dwell on it or anything like that. So we just chopping and chopping and chopping and moving. And then it hits the second act where it starts to slow down. There's not as many choppy bits like that. And you've just gone from, it's like a complete 180. You've gone from that to bam, slow right down. Now we are really dragging out scenes that don't necessarily need to be dragged out. So it felt like they picked the wrong scenes to do that in the first two acts. But then there is one tragic event that happens that you actually feel for because, they've given you the time to actually understand what is happening, why this is going to be significant, and the emotion is there because, they're building that. They're building and building and building. And when the tragic event happens, it does hit you because you're like, okay, now we see why. But it's just those first two acts, man, just the choppiness of the editing. I don't know why they did it, but look, I get it. They're trying to feel so much information in here because it is a topic that has a lot of information. And then they just, it's annoying because it's so quick and then so slow. So it's just the complete 180 that just makes it pretty hard to follow. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, is this movie gonna, start to wrap up soon? Are we in the third act yet? So that's my main issues with this film. So, but look, the message is great. Really, really like the message of the film. Really like the performances of the film. And look, overall, I would still say watch this film because of the message that they're trying to tell. And I feel like it's a message that needs to be more out there for us to understand our history more and like what is the big thing about the hierarchy and everything like that. So I feel like it's definitely one that people should watch because of that. But I understand if you guys want to wait for it, for it to come on stream and that, because it does feel like it takes forever, which is unfortunate. So, but overall, I didn't mind it. So let me know what you guys thought. If you guys did go and see it, let me know down in the comment section below. What did you think of Origin? Did you love it or not? Smash it down there. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe. Peace out.